how's the day so far?
All right, Keith. I'm very happy to be here on your show. Um,
Pleasure.
it's an honor, it really is, because it's very difficult. Our music is, it's going back underground. It's been underground for a very long time, and people like you with these kind of interviews, with these kind of shows, I think they're keeping keeping the flame alive. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
thanks for
And,
having me.
and I heard thank you for giving us amazing music over the years, beautiful music from you, and a history of awesomeness. So thank you so much for what you do for the metal
Excellent.
industry around the world. Thank you so much for that.
I'm
So
happy to serve the metal community.
awesome, Billy. Awesome. So, Billy, you and Bob put up an album, Ethical Dilemma, earlier this year. So, would you like to tell me a bit about the songwriting and the person behind this new album?
Sure, sure. Ethical Dilemma is a brainchild from two musicians that love progressive metal music, especially the era that holds from let's 1990 up until like the 2000s, let's say. We wanted to home in on that sound and that effect that era had on progressive metal fans. And we kind of figured, Bob and I figured that it's kind of lost, or you got to really search for it. So we felt like we should come out with something like this. It was time. I felt like the timing was right. The actual album was going to be a solo album, because I put my band Terra on ice. We can discuss that a bit later. And I figured that it was time. I felt that it was time that I could support vocally and live on stage, of course, a solo effort. And as we were writing the music and the songs, and everything was coming together so well, at the end, Bob kind of turned around and said, "You know what? I think this album needs to have both names on it instead of just a regular, let's say, solo album from a known singer from a heavy metal band." Because it would be taking away, one name would be taking away from the other if they weren't together on the album cover. That's how we kind of decided that it would come out Vass Katsionis and not just plain Billy Vass. The songwriting method was basically, Bob is a composer. He hones in and keys in on every vocalist's abilities, his strong points, his weak points. He's very good at that. He's a true professional. And I've been working with him on a bunch of stuff musically for over 10 years.
Mm.
So he knows my buttons, let's say, and he knows how to get the best out of me. And that's exactly how he went about songwriting, actually writing the music for the album. It was basically very easy for me to come up with lyrics and melodies, because like I said, he put forth the kind of music that was going through my mind. It was cosmic. It really was. And it was very easy to put melody and lyric to everything that he came up with. It was extraordinary. I mean, I think we finished the 8 songs in just about a month and a half.
Mhm.
I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. The chemistry, like I said, is above all, and Bob and I really have that between us.
Amazing, amazing. And it is a concept album. So, would you like to tell me a bit about the real concept that was put behind this album?
Right. That's a question I get a lot, because it is of course a concept album, not a concept that is so straightforward. It's a vivid concept, of course. And I tell everyone who asks me, what is the concept? What is the theme? What's going on here? I see lyrics about inner strength, and at the same time, there's a bunch of negativity going on around in the songs. I mean, it really tries to catch the A to Z of human emotion, to be quite honest with you. I really think that I hit the head on the nail with the title of the album. It's every song has an ethical dilemma in it. If you read the lyrics, you can plainly see that it's others will see good against evil, others will see black against white, others will see light against the dark, others will see themselves in it, others will not, and say, I know someone that's going through exactly what this song is trying to project. Like I said, I had the album name ready before any of the music, any of the songs were done, because that's exactly what I wanted to write about. Um, they asked me, is anything, any song in there personal? Is it has something to do with your life, my life, in other words? It does. It does. A bunch of parts of songs, if not a couple of them from beginning to end, are about my life and what I've been through. And I think that's what hits mostly the listener, because everybody hears it. They all come back saying, you really hit the heart of the matter. And I think that's because that's what I was going through at the time when I was writing. I can't write something that's shallow. Again, if you're going to write a concept album, it has to be a very simple concept that everybody gets it. Or if you're going to go into the vivid, into the dimensions of the mind and of the soul and of the body, and it's going to become something celestial. I think you really need to have a bunch of experiences in your life, the people around you, everyday life, the grind, everything that we go through as human beings. I think all of that is found in Ethical Dilemma, to be quite honest with you.
Awesome, awesome. And talking about Ethical Dilemma, 8 amazing songs, mind-blowing metal anthems, each and every song perfectly done, the music progression, the arrangements, everything went perfect. Your vocals, amazing. And your
Thank you, Keith.
everything
Thank you
about
very much.
this album. I totally enjoyed it, Billy. To be honest, I totally enjoyed this album. And as a creator of this album, what is your thoughts on this album?
Well, yeah. At the expense of sounding cliche, as most, I guess, metal vocalists that respect themselves, we kind of try to avoid saying it, but we always end up saying it, and I'm going to say it also. You're a perfectionist, right? Try to avoid saying that dumbass word, but you say it anyway, because there's really, I don't know, there's no other word to express it. Honestly, I hear a lot of stuff that if I had a second chance, I guess I would go back and do it over again. I mean, yeah, I say that about every record I come out with. I say that about every song I sing. I don't know. I guess it has to do with never being satisfied with where you're at that moment. Let's say, I do believe, like I said before, that Bob pulled out of me the best that I can give at that moment. Like I said, because the album was recorded a year and a half ago, and I don't know. Maybe if I went back into the studio singing the same stuff, it would come out different. I don't know. But at that moment, he knew exactly what I needed to do, and because he's a professional, he's an incredible producer. He hears things that at the end you say, "Holy shit!" How did he hear that? How did he do that? And that's what he found around my voice. Those qualities that I guess I take for granted or that I didn't know were there. And he really pulled that out of me. Like I said, if you leave it up to me, I would never come out with any albums. They would all be sitting in some kind of a disc or some kind of a USB stick or something, for years on end, and me going back and forth to a studio saying, I want to do this over again, I want to do that over again, and whatnot. But to be quite honest with you, I'm very, very pleased. I'm very happy with the result. I'd be lying if I said, it's mediocre or my vocals are, meh or something like that. I know that I did a great job on the album because I poured my heart and soul into it, not because I'm trying to toot my own horn about anything. I feel like I really put my all into this 110%. And I'm going to strive to keep doing this in this way because I changed my vocal style. We can discuss that when I start getting into whatever, if we discuss the Terra Incognita saga. And that's basically it from my point of view for the album.
Amazing, amazing, Billy. And I know the last couple of years has been hard to everyone around the world. There was no touring, everything stopped, the world stopped. So right now things are getting slowly back to the scene. So do you have plans to go on a tour, and are you currently on any schedules?
Well, that would be awesome. That would be great. But right now, to be quite honest with you, I was touring with my band Terra Incognita and locally and abroad. But with the Vass Katsionis project, it's exactly that at the moment. It's a project. Like I said, if a huge offer is put on the table, Bob and I, of course, are not going to decline it. It just has to be worth it because it's him and me. There's no band, so we would have to start over from ground zero, gathering up the musicians, getting some rehearsals done, and all that takes time and money and effort. And like I said, we kind of went into the studio knowing that we're going to come out with an awesome album, and we would take it from there. I would love to tour this this album. It really needs to be played live. I'm getting a lot of messages locally, I said, and abroad about getting this material out on stage, and I do believe at some point it will happen. Bob's schedule, of course, is hectic. He produces a whole bunch of bands locally and abroad, and he's got, there it is, Symmetric Records. He's got his record label, and it's very difficult for him to be away from the studio for more than like 3 days or something. So, but like I said, if something serious pops up, a one-off or maybe something, a mini tour or something like that, and it's really worth it, I'm sure Bob and I will be on board.
Awesome, Billy. And I know this question goes way back to January when you released the video, Mark the Moment. So would you like to let me know a bit about the making of this video and the real thing about this song?
Okay. Mark the Moment, of course, Bob also, he's a multi-talented everything. I'm not even going to say instrumentalist or producer or director, because he's a film director also. He's a video director. He directed, of course, the video clip. He kind of made me a semi-director when he was playing in front of the camera with his guitar, his parts and everything, and I was behind the camera trying to do whatever he told me to do. The video is basically shot in his black box studio, where he shoots most of his videos for his artists from his label. And we really didn't go for something too outlandish, too crazy. We stayed in the studio. We didn't go out on location anywhere. We felt like we wanted the music and the song to speak out without doing too much on screen. So the videos is basic. We left it that way. We wanted it that way because, like I said, we wanted the music to come out up front. If you read the lyrics about the song, it basically, what I had in mind for the song was the turmoil in a friendship. To be quite honest with you, if you see the chorus, it says, one person says to another, I want you to mark the moment, and you'll see that I will be there as long as I can. And it starts off with kind of a disagreement, an argument in the lyrics. And then it comes out to from a negative standpoint of view to a positive standpoint of view in the chorus. The lyrics are pretty basic, actually. They stand out. They tell you exactly what's happening at the moment. Like I said, the video clip was shot basically in a very basic form, so we can let the music and the song speak out for itself.
Awesome. And do you have any long-term plans with Bob?
Actually, I do. I'm hoping he does also. I think he does also. He's he kind of hinted to me that that he's beginning the songwriting process for the second Vass Katsionis release. I think it has a future. I really do. I mean, it's the direction I want to go into. Whether I join a band or whether I form another band or whether I stick with this project, this is what I want to do. I was with the Terra Incognita. I was in a more epic heavy metal, classic heavy metal mode and songwriting. But this is what I really want to do from this point on. I want to write progressive metal songs, and with Bob, that's exactly what comes out. That's the outcome of everything we do together. So I do believe that that he also believes that it's worth it, and we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make sure that it's not a one-hit wonder. Let's just put it that way, Keith.
Wonderful. And what are the current plans with Terra Incognita?
Terra Incognita. Okay, here's the soap opera version, right? Okay, so the band was formed in 2009 by a guitarist and a bassist. They didn't have a drummer and they didn't have a vocalist. Um, I had come to Greece from New York because I'm originally from Queens, New York, and I'm Greek American actually. And I came to settle back here in the homeland in Athens, Greece. And as I did that, I joined up with a whole bunch of cover bands. I was in like 7 different cover bands, doing the scene, working the scene, grinding it out, and I started wanting to explore some original material. I wanted to start writing original stuff. I was tired of singing other people's music and songs and stuff. And so I went through what we basically all did back then, before technology and whatnot. Um, I didn't even have a cell phone then. I think I was going through newspapers and friends and clubbing and shit like that, and trying to get some contacts going with more musicians and bands that were looking for vocalists. I had established a pretty good name in the scene, that I was reliable. I was a good vocalist. I could support a 2.5 hour set, which was pretty incredible. And I wouldn't lose my voice because I'm vocally trained. Tom Perry Vocal Studio from Long Island, New York. And I started searching for musicians. I fell upon the ad for I don't remember if they were called Terra Incognita then, but when I joined these 2 musicians, the bassist and the guitarist, I think we kind of sort of came up with the name all together. And then the guitarist brought in his friend, the drummer, and we started writing. I don't want to go too much into that, specifics and stuff like that. And we self-released our first album, which is called Barren Land. That was back in 2010. Self-released, self-financed, self-produced, basically. We kind of just used the studio. And we had good engineers, though. Nick and Petros were excellent engineers on the album. RPN Studios, excellent work on Barren Land, and came out with a video clip. We got the ball rolling. We started playing local live shows. Our name started popping up on fanzines, and they actually over at MTV's Headbangers Ball. Here, the local MTV Headbangers Ball in Greece, in Athens, picked up on our video clip. They liked it a lot, and they played it. They played it for us, and we were very happy about that. Of course, we were like, wow, this is an establishment right here. We got it done, and we moved forward with a lot of live shows, and then everything started crunching down. We wanted to write music for the second album, and then all the creative differences started, and we went through a bunch of lineup changes, more live shows. And when it was time to write the second album, that's when the band basically fell apart. The guitarist ended up wanting to do some more towards doom, stoner sludge stuff like that. The bassist took off completely. The drummer went off and did absolutely nothing with music or something like that. I don't remember exactly what happened to the original members of Terra Incognita, but I was left with the name. So I said, let me just move this forward as much as I can. Like I said, well-established name in the local scene. Got a bunch of musicians. We started writing music, and out came the second album. Fragments of a Ruined Mind is what it's called, and concept album. Because of yours truly, I had read a book, and it was around the time when the vampire scene was really. That 5-year split where the vampire scene was like in all the movies, all the video clips, and all that goth stuff was going on. And I read a book, I Am Strad, and I really liked the content and the context of the book, and I ended up writing a whole album about the book, basically. With this lineup and this album, I failed to mention that we came out with an EP before the album came out, a 4-song EP called Signed with Blood. Like I said, music-wise, it was epic, heavy, classic metal. and we would do a whole bunch of live shows, opening up for major acts here. We went out to Germany. We went to the States. We went to Romania. We went around Europe. I kind of forgot a couple of spots. Anyway, when we came back, I think it was from Romania. We ended up sitting in the studio saying, okay, what are we going to do now? We need to come up with the follow-up album of Fragments of a Ruined Mind. Came out with a couple of video clips for that album, produced by Bob Katsionis, and the band and I, again, creative differences, started arguing, started fighting, classic thing. And I had gotten to a point, Keith, where I saw the band breaking up again. Okay, everything was falling apart. I ended up by myself with the name of the band again, and I kind of got to a point, like I said, where I was at a crossroads where I was going to continue with the Terra Incognita logo, or I was going to do something else, either join another band, or, like I said, I started playing with the idea of a solo album. You know, and I had gotten to a point where I said to myself, why not? So I approached Bob and I said, you know what, I'm thinking of doing this instead of coming out with another Terra album. Because he said, you know, you can always come out with a Terra Incognita album, logo album, with just you, because you're the band anyway. And I said, you know what, I want to put this whole thing on ice, with the good and the bad, the 10-year voyage that we had. I wanted to put it on ice, and then I started talking to Bob about a solo album. He was on board. He said, "You know what? You can definitely support a solo album. I think you're experienced enough. Your voice has blossomed into something that you can actually support with your name on the album cover." And that's how we kind of connected the whole Terra Incognita saga into the Vass Katsionis ethical dilemma voyage that we're beginning now, Keith.
Amazing, amazing. That's quite something, Billy. Great. And what would be some of the upcoming plans for you?
Bob and I were discussing coming up with a second video clip to support the ethical dilemma album. We came up with Bob came up with a very quick lyric video for the, as he calls it, the heaviest song on the album. It is actually the heaviest song on the album. It's the last song on the album, the 8th song. It's the I Walk Alone composition. And we came up with a lyric video for that song. And just to keep our fans, in the mix, trying to keep everything fresh. But I do believe that we're going to come out with the second video clip for the support of this album, Keith. I think that's what's next.
Amazing, amazing. And Billy, would you like to share some of the memorable moments that has happened to you over the years?
Memorable moments, boy. Yeah. When we traveled, when Terra Incognita ended up traveling to Baltimore, Maryland, Baltimore, to play a show there, to open up for Ashes of Aries. Everyone knows that's Matt Barlow's band from Iced Earth. We got the slot right under his band, Ashes of Aries. And I remember that absolutely no luggage was recovered from the airport there until after the show. So classic heavy metal story. We ended up having to use everybody else's equipment. Everyone was great. I mean, the bands were fantastic about that. We borrowed a guitar from that band. We borrowed a microphone from the other band. We borrowed a drum kit from the other guys, and that was pretty crazy, hectic. We got nervous. We didn't know what to do. First time out on the road. We had a blast in Romania, opening up for Firewind. That was a lot of fun. They treated us like we were like Judas Priest or something. I mean, it was incredible. Honestly, when you write good music and you support it, and they see how serious you are about what you're doing, you really get it back. You really get it back from the true fans, and we felt that out in Romania. What else? I don't know. I was never the kind to have like memoirs stored away or diaries or anything like that. Whatever would pop up in mind. But yeah, a lot of stuff happened, like, from like the minivan breaking down and us having to change tires and things like that up in mountains with snow, to like getting lost, not being able to find the gig, and ending up going in like an hour later to a show. Classic stuff. Nothing too crazy, but when you're on the road with a band, this is the kind of stuff that comes around.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. I know you had quite some journey over the years. So how do you feel about the road that you traveled so far?
Yeah, I'm Keith. I'm tired. I'm tired, man. I'm 50 years old, man. I'm 50. I've crossed the 50-year-old line, and there are days when I'm feeling it. You know what I'm saying? There are days where I'm not that 18-year-old heavy metal junkie, running around, causing havoc and destroying churches and and things like that. Of course I've settled down. I've done a lot in my career, um, and like I said, it was time for me to do something for myself with my name. You know what I'm saying? I wanted my children to be able to turn back and at some point and say, this is, that's Dad's name on that album and that album and that album. So, you start thinking of the future that way. And whoever has kids as a musician, they all know what I'm talking about. You always want to leave something behind that your kids can be proud of. So I'm talking like a parent now. Look at that, instead of talking about touring and going crazy. I think that's that's the cycles of life. That's how it goes, Keith. You can be heavy metal at heart. You know what I'm saying? But the everyday grind really gets you. You know what I'm saying? So I've settled down, like I said. But music wise, I think I'm going to continue as long as my vocal cords stay in shape, and I do take care of them. I don't smoke. I drink a little, but I do try to take care of my voice as much as I can. And like I said, that's all thanks to my vocal teacher Tom Perry. He really taught me how to take care of my instrument.
Wonderful, wonderful. And are you taking any are you taking students on vocal training in Athens?
I had before the virus, I had students where we would have lessons in the studio where Terra used to rehearse. That was our studio. We had rented it out, and I would take my students there. Um, I had a big problem, of course, with the COVID, with the coronavirus, and after that, it kind of broke away. I didn't because again, I didn't have the rehearsal space, I didn't have the studio, and I didn't want to do any lessons, home lessons or anything like that. I wanted it to stay professional, and my students wanted it that way also, to keep a professional level. And it's just not worth it, to be quite honest with you, to pay rent at a studio to uphold the quality that I wanted with my students. Um, I don't know. Maybe in the future I'll rethink it again. But yeah, before COVID, it was going quite well. I had I think it was around 12 to 15 students actually.
Oh,
It was good.
amazing. And do you plan to do more collaboration with different artists in the future?
I would love to. Really, I'm at that point. Like I said, since I kicked aside the whole band situation and thought pattern, I would love to. I would love to. I'm getting some emails. I'm getting some requests about collaborating with guitarists and with other vocalists, female vocalists. Um, I think those will be coming out in the near future. I'm always open again for something creative, of course. I just don't, Keith. I don't want to go backwards. You know what I'm saying? I've had some offers about epic heavy metal, classic. That's, of course, that's how the heavy metal community here locally and abroad came to know me. Billy Vass with the 4-octave range and the screeching and the screaming and the epicness and the heaviness and this and that. And I guess you can say I'm trying not to change that, but I'm trying to show another side of my vocal ability. So I've been trying to steer away from, you know, the the backstepping. You know what I'm saying? Of doing things that I've already done. That's what I'm going to try to do. Of course, you know, if you're going to make me an offer that I can't refuse, you know, we're going to go with it. You know, Keith.
Awesome, awesome. And Billy, finally, what would be the message that you want to give to the fans from the world?
The fans from the world. Yeah, you know, it's simple, Keith. Let's just keep heavy metal alive. You know, like I said, we've been forced back underground with, you know, new metal, and before that the stoner grunge scene, and I don't know what's coming out now. I really, you know, I haven't been listening to any music, to be quite honest with you, for a couple of years now. Not because I don't like it or anything like that. The God's honest truth is that there's nothing interesting for me out there right now, for me to actually sit and listen to. For the fans, for our heavy metal fans, just exactly that. Let's keep heavy metal alive. Again, I always say it: once you're born a heavy metalist, you know, you can't take it away. You can cut your hair, you can change the way you dress, but in your heart, you know, you're born listening to this music and supporting this music. That's my message. Let's keep supporting heavy metal.
Awesome, awesome, Billy. And Billy, I want to thank you so much for giving me today this wonderful opportunity to have you on this interview. A great pleasure and honor to meet you today on this interview. And thank
Keith,
you so much for the amazing.
thank you so much. It was my honor. It was my pleasure. Thank you so much. Like I said, people like you are keeping heavy metal alive. It's that simple. Bringing out artists, talking about their endeavors. I think it's fantastic. I wish you the best. And it was my pleasure. Thank you very much, Keith. Thank you.
Take care of yourself and have a great evening out there, Billy.
You too.
Bye-bye. Stay
Bye.
with